This is episode 43, and we'll be looking at HashMaps. So HashMaps allow us to store our data in terms of key value pairs, and this means that we can access them using the key. We can access a particular value using a key. So HashMaps, what they do is that they take one object is actually going to be used as the key, and the other one is actually going to be used as an object. So why would you ever want to use a HashMap? So you might recall that from array lists, in order to access a particular element, you're making use of the index value. Alright, but you find out that in most cases, or rather in some cases, data might actually use a key that is not an integer, or you might want to use a custom key, as it were. So that's where a HashMap comes in. So a HashMap, as you shall come to realize, is that when you declare it or when you create it, you're actually creating the two types of the two data types that you want to use. So you have the key, then you have the value. So the key can be anything really. It can be a string, it can be an integer, it can be a boolean, and the value can also assume any other data type that you can that you want to use in your particular program. So let's actually go ahead and start by creating a HashMap. So the first thing that we actually need to do is we need to import the HashMap class. So let's go import, then from the java.util package, that's where you find the HashMap. Right, so now we have our HashMap. So let's create a HashMap. So in order to create a HashMap, you use the HashMap class name followed by angled brackets. Then within the angled brackets, you now specify the type for the data that you want to store within your HashMap. So in this case, we are going to use a string for the key, and the value is also going to be a string. Then next, we need to call the HashMap constructor. So we need to specify string, then again string. Then one thing that I had forgotten is to put the identifier here. So maybe let's call our HashMap towns. So that's how you create a HashMap. So this is the syntax for creating a HashMap. So remember, this right here, the first data type is the key, and the second data type is the value. But it's not always the case that you want to create strings. Like in this instance, you might actually have an integer right here. Then you can also have a different data type altogether that is not a string. So this is just an example. Don't be limited by the example. So that's how you create a HashMap. So in order to actually add items to the HashMap, we can go towns, then dot put. We use the put method to actually insert something within a HashMap. So maybe let's actually go with towns and cities that you find in Zimbabwe. So let's have the abbreviation HRIE for Harare. Then we can put the full form as the value. So HRIE would be the key, and Harare would be the full form. So maybe HashMaps, you'd find out they are quite important if you are maybe say building an application whereby you want the user to select an area code from which they come from. So you would have your data stored inside of your HashMap using the key value concept. So let's actually put another city in there. Maybe let's put Buyo. Then the value can actually be Blawayo, just like that. Then let's also put maybe Mashingo. Put Ngomas there. Then Mashingo. Then we can also let's add one more town in there. So towns dot put this time let's put maybe Mutare. So just like that. So that's how you can create, or rather you can add items inside of a HashMap. Then when you are done creating your HashMap, maybe you might just want to display the values that you have going on within the HashMap. So let's actually do that. So you could go sysout towns, and you could do that. Then let's actually run it and see what we get down there in the console. Let me just Let me just clear out the console, then run the file one more time. Alright, so you realize that we have this is the output for our HashMaps. So it's going to print the key, then it equates it to the value, then the key equated to the value, then it's going to be a comma separated a list of elements, as it were. But now this is not the most efficient way to print items inside of a HashMap, because sometimes you might not want to print them in that format. So how do you say, maybe if you wanted to print the values, how would you go about it? So let's actually demonstrate that. So you can use an enhanced for loop. So we have for, so the data type is string, then I is going to be the item, then we want to print towns dot values. So this is how you actually retrieve the values inside of a HashMap. You use the HashMap name followed by the dot values method. Then inside of here we can go sysout, then just print I. Right, so if we go ahead and run this, you realize that we are simply getting the values from within our HashMap. Right, so that's how you can retrieve values from within a HashMap using an enhanced for loop. Then you can also do the same thing for the keys. So let me I just copied my loop there. Then right here, what I want to do is, instead of getting the values, you might guess that you use there's a dot keys method. So alright, so we want the keys, so we are going dot it's actually the okay, maybe let's actually start by printing everything else. No, actually I need to print the keys. Let me fix this. Alright, so it's actually key set that I have to use here. So key set is actually going to retrieve the keys for me. So let's actually run this and see. So you see that we get the keys right there, right? Then if you wanted to retrieve just a single item from within a HashMap, you can make use of the get method. So get a single item, so we'll go sysout, then towns dot get. So we need to make use of the key, so maybe let's get the item with the key of Harare, and let's actually run that. You see that we get Harare down there. So that's how you can get a particular item within a hash set. Then you might also want to get everything. So in this instance, you make use of the key set and the dot get. So the way you would go about it is you make use of an enhanced for loop. Then for string I in towns dot key set, you want to output the so we say town is key, then we put I there, then we concatenate with a string and value. So town is key that, and value, then we concatenate with towns dot get I, because remember the get value actually gives us the particular the get method actually gives us the particular value for a given hash set. So if we go ahead and run this, we should get town is key Buyo and value Blawayo, then town is key Harare and value Harare, town is key Mutare and value Mutare, and so forth and so on. So yeah, I think that's just about it for this tutorial. And then of course there's also, you need to remember that there's a bunch of methods that you can actually use with hash sets, but these are the basic ones that you should really get you started going on with HashMaps, as it were. So I'll see you in the next one.